Hey there, good morning. Let's check out the lizard here. No, what's this? Oh, there's the lizard rig. Let me just. It's a free rig I just downloaded just to go through foot placement. Let's see here. So I kind of did like the main stride positions, kind of similar to what you've got going on with yours. Now, that said, could it be a bit better? It's okay. I didn't do any fingers yet. I will do some fingers. I just wanted to get the main foot placements there. Now it looks like I'm not used to this rig, so this is something I downloaded for free. So this might be a little bit of a nightmare to use, maybe. So far it's okay, but let me just do this for now. Okay. So I'm looking at your animation, and I think these mid foot positions, or the transition from back to front, they need to be a little bit more pronounced, a little bit more exaggerated, because they're almost reading like this, where there's no transition, right? Right now, there's just the two keys, right? And it's kind of has that similar feel to that. So a couple of things we want to do, and let's see how much of a nightmare it is to do with this rig. And let me just make sure these feet are in fact locked where they need to be. Is as the foot comes off, so in this case it would be the back foot and the other side. We want to find a good mid position where this is going to be in the air, right? And if we have to, we can move it away from the body just a bit. And what I would suggest doing is bringing the toes together and bedding them down just a little bit, so that when they hit, they can spread out slightly. I noticed for the first couple steps, you kind of did a little bit of that, which is great. I wonder if there's like an actual spread control on these, but I don't know. So I want to kind of bring these down just a bit. Those are just the mid. It's just a mid. There we go. And then we want to put two more keys, one on either side of that. So, there's not a ton of time for this, but let's see what happens here. So with the foot coming off the ground, it would be nice to maybe not just have it lift perfectly straight up. If that's what we have to do, then we do that. But, maybe making it feel like the toes are pushing off just a tiny little bit more. Now, luckily, these are just rotations, which means, once you've done it once, you can copy it to the similar pose whenever this foot comes off the ground. Like, these would be very similar. You can just copy and paste these keys, right? And I'm just trying to make sure there's no intersections and stuff. The claws. Right. Luckily, your guy has less toes, I think. So, and you have the toe controls. There we go. And we could probably even rotate the entire foot back a little bit too, I think. Let's see. Yeah. Now on the way down, we want to go a little bit more, if possible, heel first. Right? So that's where it's coming down. right? So I can kind of roll things just a tiny little bit. And I'm going to cheat this slightly just by raising these up a little bit more. This guy's hitting off first. So maybe I'll just... Alright, so you're kind of rolling. So you're rolling kind of the foot onto the ground, basically. Now, could we do more? Probably. I could probably do more now. Again, I'm not too familiar with these controls here. So it'd be nice to be able to sag this part down. Here, right, is quite far off. Do something a bit more like that. Cool. So for the mid, there's a couple more things we need to do. And we have to do it for the front too. Right, so we want to make sure we're moving the hips. Right. There we go. Right. So it's not just the leg, because this is technically pushing up. And if anything, he's actually shifting his weight just a little bit over to that other leg. Right, so he's just shifting things over just a tiny little bit. Counter animate that tail down a bit. Right, so that's a little bit better. And, you know, because he's coming off this way and rolling forward, I might want this to roll the other way. Right, so maybe just throw a little bit more roll here. There we go. And when that foot's on the ground, you'll just wrap those around the tree trunk a bit more. Cool. And then we just want to do the same thing for the front. So for the front, so on this side we don't see it, so I'm still going to do it, just maybe not quite as carefully. But the same thing, right? So we want to angle the foot down with gravity a bit. Wish that was a bit better. But let's bring these toes together. And we're going to grab all those guys. And rotate those down. I don't even know what I've got there. Let's see. Do this a bit more. Have to do it just a little bit more carefully, maybe. Rotate these guys down. Well, I wish this was better. There we go. Let's do that. Alright, awesome. Angle that up just a bit. Cool. And then same thing. So on the way down, we can bring this up. There we go. And then, if possible, it's always a roll on the outer edge of the hand, not the inside, or not flat. And let me just get these toes randomized a bit. So as I mentioned, once you do it once, you can just copy these fingers and everything. Just make sure it's not going through the ground. Did I get the right one? This one. Cool. Right. So it's a little bit more like this. Now, like I said, we're not done yet because we still have to do the chest and everything. Right? So this leg's off the ground. We gotta lift him up. Got to shift him over, right? Because nothing's supporting this except for this one arm. So we got to shift over the supporting area. With that up, we can maybe even move this arm up just a bit higher. And we got not just moving it though, we got to rotate it too, right? So we got to rotate it, which means we're gonna have to counter rotate his head and everything, or if you have a headlock, then use that, which would be better than this. Right, so now we got this type of movement, and when he lands, we could shift this back over just a bit more neutral. There we go. Cool, and then we just repeat the process. So now I do this side. So that comes up. Bring all those fingers in. I'm going to translate them too. I just want to bring them as close together as possible. Right? If that means I have to do this, then that's fine. I want to rotate them all down with gravity. What's this? Oh, it's nothing. Would that have finger controls on it, maybe? But no. Structure would be useful. Alright, let's see. What's this guy do? Is there any ball roll? There we go. Alright, and same thing. So we're going to reach out outside of the palm first. What's this guy do? Oh, that makes it. There we go. That's useful. Does this guy have fingers? No. Right. So we got something like that, and then picking up. Now, it would be nice if these were just a bit better on here, so let me just do this. Right, so avoid just flat hands. If you can get them feeling like they're more wrapped on here, then that's better. I'll just copy that. Copy this guy though. Okay. Cool. So now what we need to do is this part here where it peels off. So I just gotta go back. Now, one thing we didn't do this time is I didn't bring it out. I think that's working pretty cool. Just bring that out a bit. We've got these elbow controls that could come up. raise that even higher. Yeah. So this guy. Yeah. So similar to what we did before, we just have to make sure this is over top of, oh, this is a little bit back. Here it is. It's a little bit more over here. Right, and we're rotating this. So got to kind of rotate that head back. There we go. So you can kind of get that crawling, right? All right, so let's try the other foot here. So same thing. And that comes up. Get that knee working a little better. These toes in. Get them rotating down. Definitely have something selected I shouldn't have. There. It's a bit of a roll on the, I'm gonna go with that. There. Right, we can even bring this out just a bit. Right, I think arcs. Everything always goes through arcs. So this guy, right? So we need to shift this over the supporting leg a little bit more, and then rotate that up, which it already is, which makes me nervous. And it should be a little bit more like that here, which means this could be higher. Yeah, it's not really coming up high enough. There we go. Right, and then it needs to come down a little bit more heel first, outer edge first. And then we could probably get these toes a little bit better. So now we got that going on. Now I gotta watch out for poppy knees. Knees are popping a bit. This guy's swinging around quite a lot. Just gotta watch out for these poppy knees. I'll try to keep this out here. Cool. And so now we're getting into a little bit more natural stuff. Now this foot we didn't do yet, so let's do that one. Last one. Now I already did it once, which means I can copy these rotations. Not the translations, but the rotations I can definitely copy. That's the midpoint. So I'm just going to middle drag that over to this midpoint, right? So now I can do that. Now, translations, you can't really copy over, but I can do rotations easily. And remember, we want to try to come in on the outer edge if possible. Again, I could copy this key also. Well, make sure we're hitting that a little better. So if it's here, it needs to land up here a little bit more. Which means we got to worry about some poppy knees. Oh, what does follow do? Oh, see, I should have maybe used that stuff. No, that does not work well. Anyhow, you don't have to worry about poppy knees with the rig you're using, but or as much. So let's see. Yeah, I just got this poppy leg right here. Cool. All right. So, you know, the poppy knees need to depopify a bit, but that's cool. The key too is that, you know, the fingers and toes, everything's kind of changing, right? When it's off the ground, they shouldn't look like they're in a default position. So really kind of bringing them together, making sure they're angled down. It's going to really create a much more believable thing. So here, let me just move this over. We don't see this hand so much, so I'm going to just cheat this last one just a bit. This guy's driving me crazy, but all right, and we're getting a little bit more of that natural kind of movement through the torso now as a result. Now that last hand I didn't do. So when I refer to the first shot, like Spider-Man, right? This is kind of like, we want to make it feel like he's reaching, right? For each step. Now, this is the same speed, it's just such a heavy rig that it's playing a little bit slower, but I guess that's real time. Yeah, it's about the same as 8 frames per step. That's what we got. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Well, it's probably a bit of a longer video than it should be, but hopefully it was somewhat helpful. Okay, I'm going to end it right here. Right now. There we go.